Welcome back to Racing Across America. Seth Merrow here live at Gulfstream Park, and sitting with us live right now, one of the players tomorrow in the Florida Derby, Doug Oneill. Good morning, Doug.
Good morning, Seth.
Happy to have you on board. Talk a little bit about some of the action tomorrow here and elsewhere. Let's start out with Nyquist, obviously. That's the big story, the battle of the undefeateds, East Coast versus West Coast. Before we get into how you think about he's going to do tomorrow and how he's coming into the race and whatnot, I just wanted a little background because it was interesting to read. Your brother Dennis was one of the people who found this horse, a son of Uncle Mo. Uncle Mo at that point still brand new. The dam, this was her first fall. What convinced your brother to take a look at Nyquist at the sale?
You know, Dennis is just so good at picking out prospects for us, and he just has a special ability, a savant, if you will, of, and he even has a hard time explaining what he loves about certain horses, but he's right a lot, and fortunately he was right about this guy. But he thought he was very well balanced, and he had a beautiful stride, and you know, at these two-year-old training sales, you're able to see him, not only their stride, but how they act in the barn area and how they act in the stall. And he just liked them a lot as an individual, and talked to Paul, and Paul liked him a lot as well. And Paul and Zilla wrote a big check, and here we are.
Yeah, it's certainly a nice story from the beginning to where we've gotten today. And speaking of today and tomorrow, you, of course, based in Southern California. What was the game plan to move here to the East Coast for this Florida Derby as opposed to staying at home?
Well, you know, after winning the Breeders' Cup Juvenile, we all sat down and huddled up and tried to put a plan together of how we could get to Churchill, to have Nyquist at his best. And the thought was having two preps, the San Vicente at Santa Anita and the Florida Derby here. And like everything in life, usually when you make a plan, you got to call audibles along the way. And so far, everything's been going, as planned. And loved the way he ran from the rail in the San Vicente, and really happy with the way he's traveled here and the way he's doing.
And we should also mention there's a nice little bonus sitting out there for you guys.
There's a bonus. Yeah, but that bonus only comes into play if you win. So obviously we're coming here because we believe we can win, and we will see.
And it's surprising with the two big guns, they wound up with a field of 10. You got the 4-post. You happy?
Very happy. Yeah, with our gate speed, we weren't really concerned about what post we drew, but Elias, his unbelievable groom, wanted number 4. So when we drew 4, we're like, okay, Elias, this one's for you. Let's hope that you're right. And but yeah, very happy with the 4. But going to mile and 8th, there's a little bit extra run going to the turn, and we're happy.
He's been in town now for a few days. He's been out on the track. How's he taken to the surface?
Really good. We got delayed one day because of a little issue with the plane, but hasn't slowed us down. He went to the gate, got to meet Jeff Powell and his great crew there at the gate, and they were super with him, and that went really well. And then he galloped good on Thursday, and today he had a nice easy jog day, and trying to harness that energy for tomorrow.
And, of course, this time of year, the big question is distance. And this will be the first try at a mile and an eighth. And, of course, 5 weeks down the road, a mile and a quarter. You see any problems?
I don't, but you never know till you do it. And back home in Southern California, he's put in a lot of good gallops. He's put a lot of good stamina workouts in. And he's, like Mohayman, he's got that ability, that he just doesn't like to lose. So I don't think the mile and eighth will be a problem at all.
And speaking of the 5 weeks, I want to ask you, because I always find it interesting, we're in the 21st century now. The game's changed since I first got in it. I remember those last preps were 2 weeks away. The Wood Memorial, a couple of weeks away from the Derby. 5 weeks away after today. Is that good for you? I mean, as I say, it's a new era. Do you look for that 5 weeks now?
We do. I do. And especially here's a horse that ran 5 quality races as a 2-year-old. So, he had a real strong campaign as a baby, and really want to have him with fresh legs and with a full tank as we approach Churchill and hopefully beyond.
And I was kind of interested to read that the game plan when you leave here is to head up to Keeneland to train to the Derby. What's the thought process there?
Well, Keeneland's so nice because you got the option of the synthetic track. If we do get any kind of rain, which in Kentucky that happens, he loves a synthetic surface. So training, we had shipped into Keeneland a little bit early too before the Breeders' Cup, and it just a beautiful facility. It's so tranquil with all the farms around, and I think not only good for his brain, but also just being able to dance with Mother Nature, whatever she throws at us.
Shifting a little bit, speaking of synthetic racetracks, tomorrow also you have Rallis going in the Spiral, synthetic track at Turfway. We're normally based at Saratoga season. We do our show from the backstretch up there.
Oh,
so
wow.
we saw him win the Hopeful, and that was very impressive. Then little hiccups, maybe the end of the season and his seasonal debut.
Yeah.
But now going over trying the synthetic surface for the Spiral at Turfway. What are your thoughts there, and how do you think he's going to do?
You know, we're optimistic. I know on form he looks like kind of a throwout, but he's a son of Square Eddie. He's a homebred of Paul and Zilla Redham, so that's really cool. And, you know, the other day, coming off a layoff and going in the Rebel was definitely throwing him in deep water, but I think he would have ran third or fourth if the rail would have opened up turn for home. And because it didn't, Mario at that point he knew he wasn't going to run in the top 5, so he didn't beat him up, and he came out of it bucking and squealing, so we vanned him over to Turfway, and it's on a different surface, and you know, it's kind of our last-ditch effort to try to get him into the Kentucky Derby, so we'll see what happens.
All right, let's move on to last weekend. Again, Uncle Mo's son tomorrow, Uncle Mo's daughter, Landover C. Behind, it's
Gomo.
Yeah, Gomo's the Uncle Mo.
Yep.
But Landover C, I wanted to talk about that one because last 5 starts she was behind Songbird. 3 of those were second-place finishes. You get away from Songbird, and last weekend she looked pretty good in the Fairgrounds
She looked
Oaks.
great. She looked so good, and yeah, she's such an honest filly, and you do worry sometimes when they're second to any horse that many times that maybe you're breaking down their killer instinct, but you know, she showed her true class and showed how good Songbird is, and Johnny Velasquez rode her there at the fairgrounds, and he was just said, God, she didn't really get rolling until about the 8th pull, and then she was hard to pull up. So very happy. She came out of it great. She'll also, the plan is to go to Keeneland and train there for the Kentucky Oaks.
Very good. And again, that Songbird, Catherine Sophia look kind of interesting, but maybe she's getting good at just the right time.
Yeah, you know, as you get ready for a Mount and Eighth there on Oaks Day, it can be a long stretch. So I do love Landover C's you know, resilience and her ability to get the distance. And you never know with some of those 2 fillies you just mentioned and Songbird, you know, if they get hooked up in a crazy speed, well, it could open up the door for an outsider like Landover C.
She certainly looked very good last weekend. And Gomo was the daughter of Uncle Mo. That one goes in the Oaks tomorrow. Obviously, the game plan was you're coming over with Nyquist, try to take a shot in the Oaks with Gomo off since a good win in the slop at Keeneland, the Alcibiades, late last year. What are your thoughts for her tomorrow?
She's such an honest filly. I don't think she's been worse than third in her start so far, and it is a little ambitious to travel off a layoff and to try the Florida Oaks, but like you said, with us bringing Nyquist, same connection, she's doing well. We thought we'd give her a chance here, and she's settled in well and acts like she's going to run really good.
Very good.
Yep.
I want to shift gears a little bit from the racing because there was a kind of a fun article about you in the LA Times maybe 2 weeks ago, talking about social media, your team, and how you play into that. You talked about a little bit about promoting the sport. I think it also helps promote your brand, so to speak, a little bit, and it connects you with the fans. Talk a little bit about the use of social media.
You know, I was driving in my car, which we all do a lot, and I heard Coach K radio show, and he had like some ex-assistant on there, someone that probably wasn't interesting to many people, but if you're into college basketball, I was real intrigued and hooked. And
Syracuse man, right?
Yeah. Boeheim, he probably has a show too. But I started thinking, God, I wonder if I could put something together to where I could have a show to where I could introduce the grooms and the hot walkers and the assistants, all the people who do all the hard work, and that's kind of how it came about. I got Mike Joyce from TVG to help me out, and just to me, it's a chance, an avenue to expose all the people that do all the hard work and realize that we are here to serve the horse, not vice versa, and it's been fun so far.
Yeah, a couple of webcast episodes so far. Down Home with Team Oneill. I've watched a couple of them. You had Paul Westhead, speaking of sports, the NBA, the WNBA coach. That was good. And I got a little hint. I think maybe in that LA Times article, Joe Pesci coming up next?
Well, that's the plan. Joe Pesci, I think, is coming up, and he's going to play. He actually is an owner, and he's going to act him and my brother Dennis, who does these sales, and Dent's going to try to convince Joe Pesci to buy one and see how that all plays out. So it should be fun.
Somehow I see, you think I'm a clown?
Exactly,
Yeah,
exactly.
see,
Oh, yeah.
somehow
Oh,
I see
yeah.
that playing into the scenario.
Yeah.
Before we let you go, I have to ask. Obviously, we're New York-based guys, so I talked to, when we're in Saratoga, the New York trainers and the East Coast guys a lot, but the first time I've had a chance to talk to you, one of my all-time favorite horses was Lava Man. So I just want some thoughts there, and I pulled up the stats. 47 starts, 17 wins. I believe it was 7 Grade 1s. $5+ million, Hall of Fame last year. But the incredible part about him, he won Grade 1s turf, synthetic, and dirt, which is incredible. But he was claimed in the 13th start of the career for $50,000. Talk about what the impetus was there, and if you saw that future somewhere. I'm sure he couldn't. There's no way you could see that future. But
No.
did you see stakes in the future for him?
Well, you know, I'm so smart. I actually offered him up in a $100,000 claiming race about the 6th start I had him, and he won, didn't get claimed, obviously. But no, he was a horse. He was a calibrated. He was a 3-year-old. The owners, Steve Kenley and Jason Wood, they're the ones who liked him on paper and wanted to claim him. So I'd love to take credit for that, but all credit to them. And he's just been amazing. And he's now a pony with us in Southern California, so we call him the best assistant coach any horse could ever ask for. And he chaperones a lot of the babies to the track, and they try to bite him and bounce on him, and he corrects them right away. So he continues to be a huge asset for us.
Yeah, he's one of my favorites, as they say. And social media, a lot of the times, pictures of him or the other horses on Twitter and on Facebook as well.
He has more followers than any of us in the barn, that's for sure. Yeah, I think he's got like 10,000 followers or something. So Charlotte Sanders, who works for us at the barn, does an incredible job of putting up daily pictures and videos and just fun stuff to help follow the horses, and he leads the way.
And again, Doug Oneill has his own website that'll connect you to the Twitter and the Facebook accounts, and also has links to the Down Home with Team O'Neill webcast. There's a couple
We
of them
don't
so
take
far in
bets
the
yet.
fun.
We're working on taking bets. That's Vinny in the back room taking bets, but no.
Or give some picks out,
There
do a
we
little
go.
touting.
Yeah.
There you go. All right, Doug, we appreciate your visit this morning. I know it's a busy time for you, so we appreciate you coming over here early in the morning. We wish you a lot of good luck tomorrow here and up at Turfway as well, and we'll be watching. Talk to you in the future.
Thank you, Seth. Thank you.
All right, Doug Oneill, Nyquist tomorrow in the Florida Derby, Gomo as well in the Gulfstream Park Oaks. We're going to head to a commercial break right now. When we come back, Mike Welch, clocker and writer from the Daily Racing Forum, all of that right after this. Stay tuned.